As you watch that airplane flip upside down, most people think that it would cause major fatalities. Everybody was doing their job, meaning flight attendants and pilots. Everybody followed their instructions. That's the reason we have nobody hurt or killed. My name is Mark Stevens. I'm a retired Delta captain. I spent 32 years in the airline industry. I have watched the video and done it second by second. The aircraft is coming in for landing. It looks like the pilots have put in the proper controls for the crosswind. The right main is a little lower than the left, and that's how it should be, because it should be wing down, top rudder. As they put those controls in, the aircraft goes into a little bit of a slip, which means they need to add a little extra power, and they have to pull back a little more on the stick. As it touches down, everything looks normal until the right main, right after touchdown, basically fails. I can't tell from the video if the right tire failed first, if there was something that struck on the runway. When the wing strikes the runway and tears itself open, that's when you see the immediate fire. And that's the fuel, because both wings carry fuel. Now the other wing, it's still flying. So as it continues down the runway, that wing flies all the way around to the other side, which means the tail gets ripped off as it goes through it. That's how the aircraft ends up upside down, because the left wing is always flying. The good news is where that wing struck and started pouring fuel out, the airplane continued to skid and leave the fireball behind. Had they stopped abruptly, they would have been in the fireball. I don't see a pilot error in this. When I first started flying, I would always ask the tower what the winds are. And one of my old captains said to me, "You know more about the wind than he does." And that's the truth, because as they're flying down, whatever the winds are that they're currently in, that's what they're correcting for. It doesn't matter what the tower is calling. It's like a video game that kids play, but when you're a pilot, you're actually in the real world feeling it and seeing it. From what I saw, maybe he needed a little more flare, but if he struck something on the runway, which Toronto's runways are absolutely some of the best I've ever landed on, it could have been as easy as a block of ice. You're landing at 150, 140 miles an hour. And then within a second, the wing is on the ground, it's in a fire, it's rolling upside down, and it's sliding. It's an amazing event that happened probably in the blink of an eye for the guys flying the airplane. And all of these pilots trained for this, and it's still way safer than trying to drive in those kinds of conditions. If you evacuate airplanes with 300 people on a great big airplane, you'll get somebody hurt going down a slide because of the age differences. This airplane, they just had to walk out. They may have been really shook up. It'll be an emotional adventure from this point on. The structure of the aircraft, the tube, it remained intact, and that's a real big key. I would guess that everybody had their seatbelts on. If you take a methodical approach to exiting the airplane, follow their flight attendant's instructions, and that's how they survived. The airline industry will get safer because of this. And years ago, there was a Dallas crash that was really difficult to fly through, and they put it in the simulators. And every year and a half, we would do that wind shear event that the pilots that crashed did in the 80s. That's what will happen with this too.